Finding slope from a table. What is slope? A slope is a ratio of the change in y over the change in x, and a constant slope helps us determine whether or not a pattern is going to be linear. Problem 1. How can we find the slope from this table? Let's start by taking a look at our y values. Going from 5 to 7, what's my change in y going to be? Starting from 5, counting up to 7, that's going to be plus 2. How about from 7 to 9? That's also going to be plus 2. And from 9 to 11, that's going to be plus 2. So it looks like my change in y, my y values are increasing by 2. So the top of my ratio is going to be 2. Let's take a look at our x values now. How do I go from 0 to 1? That's going to be a change of plus 1. Going from 1 to 2, that's a change of plus 1. And from 2 to 3, that's a change of plus 1. So the denominator of my ratio is going to be 1. So the slope for this table is going to be 2 over 1, or just 2. Problem 2. Let's find the slope for this table. Taking a look at our change in y, how do I go from negative 1 to positive 5? Starting at negative 1, going up to 0, and then counting up to 5. It looks like this is going to be a change of plus 6. From 5 to 11, that's another change of plus 6. And from 11 to 20, that's going to be a change of plus 9. Taking a look at our x's, how do I go from 0 to 2? That's going to be a change of plus 2. From 2 to 4, that's a change of plus 2. And from 4 to 7, that's going to be a change of plus 3. When you first look at this table, you might think, oh, this doesn't have a constant slope. Here we have 6, 6, and then 9. Then we have 2, 2, and then 3. So it doesn't look like we have a constant slope. But let's go and take a look at the ratio of each row. From 6 to 2, that's going to be the ratio of 6 over 2, which equals 3. Taking a look at the next row, ratio of 6 to 2, that's also going to divide to 3. And the last row, from 9 to 3, ratio of 9 to 3, 9 divided by 3 is also going to be 3. So even though it doesn't look like it's a constant number, if I compare each row, I can see that it has the same slope. So this does have a constant slope. It has a slope of 3 to 1. Problem 3. What's the slope for this table? Starting with our y values, how do I go from 21 down to 17? Instead of adding, this time I'm subtracting. To go down from 21 to 17, I'm subtracting 4. How about from 17 to 13? That's also going to be minus 4. And from 13 to 9, that's going to be minus 4. So my change in y is going to be minus 4. Taking a look at our x's, from 0 to 3, that's going to be a change of plus 3. From 3 to 6, that's a change of plus 3. And from 3 to 9, that's going to be a change of plus 3. So my slope is going to be negative 4 over 3. How can I use my slope to help me figure out the next point? If I continue the pattern, I know that my next jump is going to be negative 4. So 9 minus 4, this spot would be at 5. And taking a look at my x's, I know this next jump is going to be plus 3. So this jump is going to land to 12. So my next point on my table is going to be 12, 5. Problem 4. Let's find the slope for this table. Taking a look at our y values, how do I go from 11 to 14? That's going to be a change of plus 3. From 14 to 17, also plus 3. And from 17 to 20, that's going to be plus 3. So for our slope, our change in y is going to be 3. Let's take a look at our x values. From 0 to 5, that's a change of plus 5. 5 to 10, plus 5. 10 to 15, plus 5. And 15 to 20, that's also plus 5. So this is going to be a change of 5. So our slope is going to be 3 over 5. Now, how can we use our slope to figure out our 0th term here? I know that my y values are changing by plus 3. Plus 3. So to figure out the 0th term, I can ask myself, what mystery number? What number can I start off with? So that when I add plus 3, I'm going to land at 11. What number plus 3 equals 11? That starting number is going to be 8. Because I know that 8 plus 3 equals 11. So that my starting position, my 0th term, is going to be 8. Another way of finding our 0th term is to think about going backwards. So moving down the table, we know it's plus 3. So what would be moving back up the table? From 20 to 17, 20 minus 3 gets us to 17. 17 minus 3 gets us to 14. And 14 minus 3 gets us to 11. So if going down is plus 3, going the opposite way is going to be subtracting 3. So to get to our 0th term, we need to start at 11 and minus 3. And 11 minus 3 is going to get us to 8. Problem 5. Let's start off by finding the slope for this table. So looking at my y values, from 5 to 13, that's going to be a change of plus 8. From 13 to 21, that's going to be a change of plus 8. And from 21 to 29, that's going to be a change of plus 8. So the numerator for my slope is going to be 8. Taking a look at our x's, let's take a look at our change. So from 1 to 3, that's going to be a change of plus 2. From 3 to 5, that's going to be a change of plus 2. And from 5 to 7, that's going to be plus 2. So the denominator for my slope is going to be 2. So my slope is going to be 8 over 2. Now, how can I use our slope to figure out our 0th term? Let's start by going backwards. Going backwards, 29 minus 8 brings me to 21. 21 minus 8, I'm at 13. And 13 minus 8, I'm at 5. Similarly, looking at my change in x, going backwards, 7 minus 2 gives me the 5. Minus 2, I'm at 3. And then minus 2, I'm at 1. Do you notice the problem when we're trying to get to our 0th term? If I make a full jump of minus 2, am I going to land at 0? I don't need a full jump. I'm going to need half a jump. So instead of jumping a full negative 2, I just want to go backwards negative 1. So what would be my change in y? If I'm not making a full jump of negative 8, what would half a jump be? This is going to be minus 4. So making a half a jump, starting from 5 and minusing 4, my 0th term is going to be 1. Are these slopes going to be the same? So taking a look at the slope here, this has a slope of negative 4 over negative 1. And if I divide negative 4 by negative 1, that's going to be regular 4. And that's going to be the same as our original slope because 8 divided by 2 is also 4. So when we reduce both of these slopes, we get the same amount. Finding slope from a table, we need to look at how our y's are changing from one row to the next, and that's going to be the top of our ratio. And then we figure out how our x are changing, and that's going to be the bottom of our ratio.